Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video on Bite of Geek. Today I'm taking a look at the C8W Pro from EZVIZ. This is their new 3K outdoor security camera, so let's check it out. So huge thanks to EZVIZ for sending out the C8W Pro for me to review. As always with these products, manufacturers send me, they've not paid anything for this review, so you guys get my honest opinion of the product, all the way through from the unboxing all the way through setup and the app and the general usage of it, and they get some genuine good feedback as well that hopefully they take on board for the future. If you're interested in buying one of these, there are actually two versions of this. There's a 2K and this new one, which is the 3K version. So I will put links to those down below in the description if you are interested once you've seen this video. But first of all, let's have a look and see what you actually get in the box. So this is the C8W Pro from EZVIZ, their smart home camera. This is a 3K 5 megapixel camera, and quite a large box for this camera, so I'm expecting a lot inside. As per usual, all these things, lots of features, what the product's like and everything printed all on the outside of the packaging. As you can see here, the pan and tilt aspects of it, but I'll go through all of these kind of features, and where they are in the app and stuff like that, how to use some of those as we go through later on, as well as the specification. I'll go through that in a minute. So first of all, if we just get the box open and see what we've got. So on the top here, we've got a little quick start guide, and then we've got the main camera body itself. So it's an all-in-one affair. And then we've also got what looks like an accessory pack as well. So we will start with that first and just see what you get inside. Get all the bits and bobs out. So first off, get your mounting template, then you get another leaflet, then you get your power supply unit. So this, I don't believe this is rated for outdoor use, so you're obviously going to have this plugged in internally, but decent sized cable on that. It's got a barrel connector, and then you get this extension cable as well, obviously with a barrel connector on it. So this is a pretty decent length, so if you need to run your power line somewhere else, then that's good. Then you get your screws and roll plugs, usual stuff really, and then you get this weatherproof cover if you're going to use the Ethernet port on the camera itself. So just taking a look at the camera, as you can see, pretty decent size unit, and it's as I say, it's all in one, and I think it actually looks pretty smart, to be honest with you. This is the first time I've kind of looked at this kind of thing. It looks like there's a bit of a speaker there in the base. Cables, so obviously you get a bit of a short run of your power and Ethernet cable. Bit of a disappointment that these are actually hardwired in at this point. Obviously the aim is that you use the other cables that you've got there, but it would have been nice to be able to at least detach the Ethernet one if you're not going to use that. So just taking off the protective film there off the dome itself. So got a camera lens here down, kind of hopefully you can see that on the camera, and then we've got a little plastic cover here, which is where your micro SD card goes, and there's also the kind of like the reset switch. So interesting. Certainly if you're going to have this mounted low down, I think it's good that the cover has actually got screws on it, so somebody isn't going to just quickly come along and pop out your SD card. But yeah, a fairly attractive looking unit, very modern looking. So just in terms of specification, just some of the highlights here. It's a 340-degree pan and 80-degree tilt camera, so quite a wide field there that you can look around on. This particular one is a 3K 5 megapixel camera. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, there is a 2K version as well. That is a little bit cheaper, so if 2K is all you need, that may be the one to go for you. EZVIZ make a big thing about the AI powered nature of this, so I'll show you some of those things in the app later on, but you've got your human and your vehicle shape detection here, the AI tracking for that. You've got your smart tracking as well. Lots of common features here now, two-way audio on it, color night vision. You can have black and white night vision, alarms. It's also got strobe lights on it as well, so unlike some of the other cameras that have got big LED lights on them, these are small LED lights, but they are quite decent brightness when they go off. It is rated as being weatherproof. The micro SD card that I mentioned earlier, so you can have a maximum of 256 gigabytes on that. There is the cloud service as well that you can subscribe to if you want to do that, and there are there is another option as well, which I'll talk about when we go through some of the app functionality. In terms of your footage, so it's H.265 encoding. A lot of the cameras on the market at the moment are H.264, so this one will certainly be using less bandwidth and less storage requirements for the footage that you're recording. And in terms of networking, so you've got your Wi-Fi, which is 2.4 gigahertz, and you've got that Ethernet connection if you would prefer to have the hardwired option as well. And it is Alexa and Google Home compatible as well. So to get yourself set up, well, once you've got the app installed on your mobile device, it is just a case then of creating yourself an EZVIZ account. Yes, you do need to do that, unfortunately, but it is a relatively straightforward process. Just note to EZVIZ not to have passwords in plain text. Big no that. So once you've got your account set up, then it's just a case of adding the device to your account. So all you've got to do, just click on add a device. You select what type of device it is that you're going to add from their range of devices that they've got. So I'm going to pick a camera. You scan the barcode on the camera itself. You just follow the prompts, basically. Give it access to your network. You're going to have to connect it onto that, and then just let it try and find the device. It is pretty quick. It was seconds when it was going through on mine, and then the camera then shows up in your list of devices that you've got available. Once you've done all of that, you then get this big pop-up about the cloud service. I'm going to use a micro SD card in mine. If you want to take advantage of the cloud service, now's your chance to use the 7-day free option that you've got there. Otherwise, pop your micro SD card in and you will be prompted that you've got to format the card. So that just took a couple of minutes for me for 128 gigabytes. So let that go through and then you're done, ready to use that. So in terms of settings, well, the app has got a number of features available in it. I think one of the key ones that you'll probably want to play around with the most is to do with the the intelligent detection, so the AI side of things. So you've got your human detection. All of these have a big explanation underneath them. Lots of detail from EZVIZ as to what they do. So they've got the vehicle detection, they've got gesture detection, there's an image change detection as well. So worth having a good look at those. One thing that I realized quite far into the review of this camera, I was looking for your traditional kind of layout where you go and paint where you want your activity zone. That only seems to be available on the image change detection. I don't know why. EZVIZ, you know, maybe somebody, you know, if you're watching this, you know, you let me know. But it would be good to, you know, have that on maybe some of the other options as well. You know, I don't know why it's not on the kind of like the person detection as well. You know, why we have to separate that out. But, you know, I almost did the review saying that there was no ability to actually paint out a detection zone on this camera, which obviously would have been hugely disappointing, but you know, the option is there. It's only on one of the particular you know, intelligent detection types. So, you know, if you're looking for it, that's where it is. You'll also want to configure here how you're going to get the notifications of alerts. So, you know, you're going to get them on the app. You know, you're going to get them maybe flashing lights on the dome, the camera dome itself. You're going to get the audible alert. So they're all kind of like in one place here, which is pretty good. You know, you've got things like your you know, your PTZ settings. So you know, your tracking. You know, whether it should look at a particular field. One of the really nice things about this, which is a real shame that I wasn't able to demonstrate it, is that you can actually, using EZVIZ's new range of smart sensors, so you can set sensors up. Maybe it's you know, a gate, you know, you've got one on a gate or something like that, and you can define a 360-degree field of view for this, and you know, if one of those sensors triggers, then the camera will you know, activate and go and record at where that sensor's been triggered. So that's a real nice touch. As I say, unfortunately it only seems to work with EZVIZ sensors, and I don't have any, so I can't demonstrate that for you. So note to EZVIZ to send some sensors out with this camera when you're asking for reviews, because I think that would be a really good feature to be able to demonstrate to people who are potentially going to buy this camera. So other types of settings, very much like other cameras really from other manufacturers, you can change your on-screen graphics, you know, date and time, and whether you want you know, to change the name. So maybe you want driveway, or maybe you want you know, back garden or something like that, so you can put those details on there. So one of the other really nice features about this is the ability to set up these favorite kind of like positions for your camera. So you can have 12 of these configured via the app, and basically, rather than having to use kind of like the jog wheel to go and move the camera dome around to each of those different views manually, you know, which, although it's quick, you know, it's still relatively slow to go and do that. You can set up these favorites, and you then can just go and press the button, and it will quickly go and turn towards that particular view. I think this is a great piece of functionality. You know, they've really kind of like thought about that. It would be really good if it did some of this stuff by itself once you've gone and configured those, you know, kind of like a bit of a guard mode where it moves backwards and forwards amongst those. I think that is just missing overall from that kind of functionality. So but really good. I've not seen this kind of functionality before on cameras, so yeah, well done EZVIZ for having that set up there. So just starting off with some footage and the notifications. So you can see here, you know, when the camera starts flashing its lights, it's actually picked me up and is starting recording, and then a second or two later the notification comes up on the phone. Approaching this from a different angle in the garden, same kind of thing from that point of view. Then I'm going off to try something else here. So this is you know, a bit of recording footage from the camera itself, followed by some footage from the EZVIZ desktop Windows software, where you can see the tracking outline that it's actually highlighted on me. So I thought that would be quite interesting to see that for the same bit of footage. Another one here, one that you see on my usual videos, you know, this is giving you an example of the kind of like the quality of the, you know, this is an A4 sheet of paper with a bit of printout on it. So, you know, that's quite a number of feet back there. So you can see how good the quality of the text is. And then this example here. So I'm snooping out in the garden here with a camera, but the idea on this bit of footage is you can actually see the tracking in action. So although this doesn't look that dark, this is actually quite dark outside now in the UK, 9 o'clock. It's not pitch black, but it is certainly not daylight, which is what it looks like on that footage. So what's my overall opinion of the C8W Pro from EZVIZ? Well, this is my first mains powered security camera, and to be honest with you, this has made me completely rethink whether I want to continue using battery powered cameras. Gone are those occasions where footage is missed because the camera has to come out of sleep in order to start recording. This picks up movement immediately. It's absolutely a really good camera from that point of view. The tracking is absolutely spot on. As you can see in the desktop software, it knows exactly where I am as a person walking around the garden. Its price point is very, very competitive compared to the battery cameras that are on the market, and it's a higher resolution than a lot of them as well. It's not perfect. There are a couple of things I would have liked to have seen on this. The cables that are fitted to the camera, it would have been nice to be able to have at least detach, to be able to detach the Ethernet cable. The power one, okay, you can understand that because you're going to have to supply that anyway. But I think the fact that you can't detach the Ethernet cable is a bit disappointing. Also, the fact that you've gone to the extent of putting an Ethernet cable connection there and then not having a PoE option, I think is a big oversight there from EZVIZ. I think one of the other things as well that would have kind of been nice to have, so you've as I've gone through in the video, you can set up these kind of like key points around that you can quickly go and skip to go and see what's going on in those areas. It would be absolutely brilliant if the camera did that itself. Why can't the camera have kind of like a guard mode on it where it moves to those different positions and records the footage at those at those points for a period of time. I think these kinds of things, I think if EZVIZ were able to implement, certainly the last one should be able to be doable with software, firmware, whatever. I think that would be really good. That aside though, as with my other EZVIZ review that I did a number of months ago with one of their other cameras, the mobile application and also the desktop application is so frustrating in your inability to be able to download the footage from the cameras. This is something I think EZVIZ really need to think about their approach in how they're doing this. I said that in that last review. My opinion still stands here. Using the desktop software, the Windows software, it is at least a little bit easier, but it's still not a one-click download that piece of footage. And why can't we have that, EZVIZ? It's our footage on our devices. Why do we have to jump through hoops in order to get that footage onto something local? So certainly if your SD card is up, when your camera's up 20 feet in the air and everything, you want to maybe be offloading this footage somewhere. And that kind of comes to the last point really, which is the it only having RTSP support. Bit of an oversight that I think if we can have ONVIF support as well, I think that would just make it perfect really from that point of view. As I say, this is a powered camera that really made me think about whether battery security cameras are even worth it anymore. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What did you think of this camera? The actual unit itself. It's an interesting design. You know, most of the dome cameras are kind of like, you know, or kind of like a solid block, a cube type of thing. So this is you know, certainly a little bit more interesting from that point of view. You know, I think the footage is good. So, you know, let me know what you thought about that. Don't forget, you know, this is only a 1080p video recording that you're watching, so the footage is downscaled a little bit there from what is off the camera itself. But drop your comments down below, you know, and your thoughts and everything. And you know, if you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.